live. How exciting.
We're on air. And let's see.
I'm still monitoring.
1 second, I'm sharing my screen. All right, can everybody see my screen?
Thank
you, Lake County.
Are you trying in time? No, I think you have your phone out there.
There it is. Okay, we got it, Ray.
All right. And I'm going to make that large, and then we'll just start talking. Does that work for everybody still?
Yes, looks great.
Okay. All right, so if you haven't signed in yet, be sure that you sign in for today and fill out this form so that we know who was here. So today is month 1 of our DALLA meetings, our Digital Age Learning Leadership Academy. And Colby and I got the first month, and the focus is going to be on the SAMR model. So we'll talk a little bit about that and have some discussions. Each month will be a different topic with a different region lead taking the reins and leading that topic. Before we get into SAMR, just to recount a few things that we did in our meeting from 3:30 to 4 here in Del Norte. We talked about our projects and each shared a little bit about our project. And we very briefly looked at the spreadsheet that's in the DALLA participant documents folder with the link to our blogs and our projects. And so we're going to be working on making sure every participant in Del Norte has a link to their blog and a link to their project on that spreadsheet. Before the summer was over, we asked participants to post 2 blogs. And some people may have noticed I've been commenting on your blogs. I've been reading them as much as I can. And there's been some awesome posts. And so if you haven't posted on your blog, please do. And I don't have it in front of me. I think the 2 topics we asked you to post on was what it means to be a digital age learning leader. Is that correct? And a reflection on SHIFT symposium and your learning at that symposium. So hopefully you have those 2 done. Your assignment for this month is going to be to post again, just once this month. And I think you can post on your choice, either an update on your blog about your project. So if you want to just firm up your project or you have more information about your project, you could share that. Or if you're not ready to really post on your project, you could reflect on today's learning about SAMR and how this discussion went for you. So one of those 2 things would be what we would like to see on your blog this month. So be sure you get, that means by the end of September, you would have 3 posts. So that is the goal. And that's part of our requirements for you this year, is to have this monthly reflection. Okay? And as far as, let's see, anything else? We're going to talk about EduBadger now, or do you guys want to talk about that at the end? Stephanie and...
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and save that till the end, because if we need to do that locally, then we can, or we'll have time at the end of it after SAMR.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right.
Okay, so let's move on. Oh, sorry, Colby, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, since we all haven't met or seen each other the early part of the summer, would it be okay if we did a quick round of introductions so we can see everybody's faces?
Sure. Let me stop the screen sharing.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Get us started.
Okay. Hi everyone. This is Colby, regional or Lee from Humboldt County on the DALLA project. And I know we have some folks here because it's the first week of school and some folks not. We kind of anticipated that. So we'll start over here with Marsha. Marsha Milkey. McKinley High School.
John Larson at Grant Elementary.
Sherry Hall, Pacific Union. Carol Cavelli, Pacific Union. Business.
Okay, Del Norte.
All right, Del Norte. We'll start over with Alicia.
Alicia, and
I-
Ellery. I'm Connie Williams. I'm third grade at Stanford School.
Hi, Connie.
Second grade, Gus Maxwell Elementary.
All right.
I'm Sherry Thompson. Victoria Studover, also married to third grade. Tracy Campbell, Redwood, third grade. This is Aiden Campbell. He's trying to get into preschool right now.
He was a key rock
I
star.
was going to say, yeah, you're a rock star. Remember that.
That guy's famous. He's everywhere. All right. Okay.
Lake
All
County.
right. Lake County.
Lake County, Blaze, the IT director for Lake County. Can you hear okay? We're far away from the mic. All right.
Hey, Jason.
I'm Jason Belleville, Upper Lake High School, Science.
I'm Ken Saban, Lower Lake High School, Math and Technology.
Shauna Lee, Clear Lake High School, Art and Chemistry.
Jake Brooks, second grade, Kelseyville Elementary.
Melanie Stern, Terrace Middle, 8th grade English. Kristen Hyatt, 1st grade Newport Elementary. Lori Evans, 3rd grade Provo School.
Heather Kohler, principal. Jenna Rogers, 5th grade, Burns Valley. Stephanie Waymont, Lake County Office of Ed.
Hi, everyone. And we have Teresa, who's joining us in Mendocino County.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. Teresa House from Mendocino County Office of Ed.
Teresa.
Okay, thank you, Ray.
Oh, thank you. All right, back to the screen. Can everybody see the screen?
It's very fancy. Fun.
Yeah. Great.
Question is, what does it mean to transform learning with text? What does that mean exactly? I think as we start using technology in our classes, we realize there's a lot to it. It's not just a question of putting a device in their hands. It's what the kids do with it. It's how we use it. It's all those things. So it's not an easy question to answer, although it sounds somewhat like an easy question. Colby, did you want to add anything to that?
Well, I would agree that it's certainly not easy, and it's best done through experimentation and trial and error. I think it really does hold some of the most promise in personalizing the learning experience for students. So that's what I would add, and it's a whole lot of fun.
It is a whole lot of fun. All right. So we're going to talk about the SAMR model, however you want to pronounce that, which of course, I know several of my teachers have gone through an online course and spent an entire week or more on the model. Everybody attended the session at Shift, I hope. So we had some discussions about it. So today's session is just really to get you thinking a little more about that and applying it. That's really where it gets down to understanding it at a deeper level is when you start actually applying it to lessons in the classroom. So just a little reminder, the SAMR model starts from substitution, goes up to redefinition. Substitution and augmentation being enhancers to learning, and modification and redefinition, when you get to those levels, you are actually transforming learning and doing things never before possible. Thinking in really new situations. The definitions are under each one. I don't think it's new to anybody, but just a reminder about how the model works. new graphic you haven't seen about the SAMR model, and I kind of like the way it gives these textual clues about the different levels. So, for instance, substitution, it repeats what we see on most graphics, that tech is being used to substitute, and there's no functional change. Instead of a paper book, you're just reading a book on a device. There's no real functional change, not substitution. Their example is you use a word processor instead of a uses a typewriter. So you're using a computer just like you would a typewriter. No real functional change. And that, let's see. Type of activity, you would see word processing a lab report, typing it and printing it out on the computer, and turning it in that way, still on paper, or not any other functional change. A is augmentation, tech is a tool, but you get some improvement. So, for instance, word processing on a computer, but using the spell check, using the thesaurus, using the cut and paste tools or other tools, that gives you some functional change and takes it up to the augmentation level. Modification, tech allows for significant lesson redesign. And this really, the change here is that you're changing what you were asking the kids to do. I think that's where people get stuck, is they stop thinking of it like, I'm going to normally ask them to do a report, and I'm not going to ask them to do a report anymore. That's the kind of shift in thinking it takes to get to modification and redefinition. We're not going to do a report, we're going to do something else that is dependent upon technology. Because if I go up to modification or even redefinition, I'm still asking for a report. If I really change the task? Not really. Let's think about how you can change the task. Let's see, integrated email, graphs, images, spreadsheets are some of the changes when you get to modifications, spreadsheets, graphs, email with others, redesigning a lab. I'm not real thrilled with these descriptions, but they give you an idea of the changes that occur. And then redefinition, tech allows for creation of a new task that you previously could not do. Some ideas are things like integrated movies, hot link software apps. And I think it's using more things that we use consider multimedia, so including audio, images, video, and those types of things in a product that is different from a product you would have asked for before. Some examples they give: Skyping with experts, reaching out and touching other classrooms, touching other teachers, experts in the field, publishing your work, which we all know is a big Common Core standard, publishing your work and getting feedback, developing a feedback loop with others outside your classroom would be some ideas. All right, Colby, anything to add to that?
Yeah, thanks, Ray. One thing I would definitely like to bring up is the fact that while the SAMR model, it appears as a linear process, it's not linear. We run into different parts of the ladder as we start transforming our classrooms. Sometimes substitution is perfectly legitimate, and there's no need to go beyond that. Sometimes there's just a better mousetrap, right? So as we start going forward with our projects and transforming our lessons in classrooms, just remember that it's not a linear process. Sometimes lessons call for redefinition or modification. For example, the way that we're all meeting right now. This is not an example of a substitution for a lesson, right? Would you say it's modification or redefinition? The fact that we're meeting here in person, but yet we're all meeting collectively as a region.
I think there's an amount of integration that is going on, but that sounds more like redefinition. The fact that we can lift grades, to talk, absolutely, talk about application, talk about.
We're not hearing those comments. We can't hear what's being said.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess it's because I'm feeling a little modest. The integration that's going on here, it very much seems to me that this is more like redefinition, our experience of what we're sharing. Just because we are having access to things that we would not, we're reaching out and touching other experts right now, or at least other people who are on the path. I don't know if you heard that.
Did you hear that, Ray?
I agree.
Perfect.
Winded.
All right.
All right, ready to move on?
Yep. Yeah, that's a good idea. Welcome.
Yeah, and I just want to echo what Colby was saying. You know, sometimes you're going to be at substitution. Sometimes you'll be at the different levels. You're not going to live at redefinition. You can't live there every day. So that's not the goal. That's not what you should strive to. But you need to get there, and you need to expose your kids to that regularly. Okay, but every lesson can't be right there.
So Marcia's gonna.
I wanted to add something to that, Ray, because I totally concur to that. That I think that it's great to have that as an overall goal, but the improvement that you do in a step-by-step process without overwhelming yourself is transformational. That's where the transformation happens. Rather than have the ultimate goal that I'm going to redefine this unit of instruction to be totally technologically integrated, it's really doing the backwards planning again, like you did a shift, and looking at what our actual objectives, instructional objectives are, and seeing that the technology can be defined, not having that as our goal, redefine. Yeah, I agree with you.
I do too. It's really about the instructional goal, not the technology.
You concur. Okay.
All right, so we're going to go through a couple examples. We have 4. We might not get through all 4, but we want to throw these examples out. Have you discussed in your groups what you think, and then have one spokesperson, maybe from each region or each county, step up to the mic, so to speak, and share what your thoughts were. What this does is lets you kind of apply your thinking about SAMR to actual real-world situations, and kind of tease out what it means to be hitting different levels and what kind of technology integration really impacts learning. So here's the first example. An elementary teacher has students write drafts of essays on a paper. Using the text-to-speech function on their devices, they type or say the essays into Google Docs and it types them. They might do some typing as well. They share those in Google Docs, complete 2 rounds of peer editing. Using the comments feature, and then the teacher posts the final essays on the class blog. So I want you to discuss in your groups what level of SAMR is this, do you think, and why do you think that?
So Ray, you want us to, we're going to take, we'll go ahead and mute and discuss and come back?
Yeah, so let's take 2 minutes. Was 2 minutes good?
Ooh. Not for Marcia.
5 minutes. We'll go 5 minutes.
5 minutes sounds great.
Okay, I'm going to mute us so that we can all hear.
All right.
Ray, can you go back to slide number 4 or 5? Number 5, please. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, guys. Let's.
Yeah.
So, but we need to see the example, don't we? Can we remember the example?
Yeah, they wrote a paper, and then they edited it, but then they contributed to the blog. So they're blogging with another classroom. That's taking it to a new level. And as those students are commenting on their essays, yeah, is it their other classrooms outside?
So is the key how many people see it?
No, I think the key is the collaboration, I guess, with.
Well, I think that the outside collaboration would make it so that makes it to something they couldn't do before.
But really, more students are just reading their essays.
If they're getting feedback.
Yeah.
If the feedback is within their classroom, they could do that otherwise because, you know, they'll write on half and then your friends write on the other half of the paper. So that's due in the classroom with paper. So it's modified if it's still just peer editing within the classroom, in my opinion. And then it would be redefined if the collaboration was outside the walls, if you could reach ideas of others outside of the setting that you're in.
So
I feel like it's substitution, really, until they post it on their blog. Because we could have them write on paper, except for it's with younger kids, right? So
well, I'd say augmentation, because they're using text-to-speech.
Yeah. Right.
So they're using commenting feature.
Yeah.
So we're at augmentation for sure, until they post it on the blog.
Yeah, then other people can make comments on it, so you're opening it up to a bigger.
Yeah, and the point is that you publish it to the blog, not necessarily that you're getting feedback from that blog.
It wasn't
Is that correct?
specified if
Yeah.
feedback would be asked for or
Right.
used.
Just
So
that it was published out there.
right.
So did we decide who it's being published to? Is this in-house or out to the world? And does that matter? Is it different?
Yeah.
I mean, is it different? If
I think the
publishing
feedback is the part that
school
matters.
based?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sarah, did we come to a consensus then that it's definitely? Yeah, maybe.
So we're just calling it
All right.
orientation.
Is everybody ready to meet again?
And how they got it, right?
So they created it. Yeah. With the same tools.
So nobody else says our stuff. Hello. Everybody else is still muted.
Oh.
All right, we're back. Almost back.
I'm ready.
Lake is back, and Jenna volunteered to report first for us if everybody's ready.
Okay, Del Norte go second.
Okay, go, Jenna. So we discussed the idea that if the authentic audience that was on the blog, if that was purposeful, then it could live in redefinition. But a lot of it lives in augmentation because of the functionality of the text to speech text and the functionality of the peer editing.
So you guys are hitting augmentation.
Yeah, unless that audience for the blog is purposeful.
Right. Gotcha. All right, Del Norte. Great.
Okay, Del Norte agrees that it's an augmentation, and we spoke about the fact that it was created first on paper and pencil, so that kind of lends itself to be basically the same product shared a little differently, and just with a little bit bigger audience, but not too much of a change.
Well, what we talked about what might get it above augmentation, and what did we decide would be needed to be added?
Yeah. So if they were to have created that with advice or with technology, they could maybe do some video or some pictures or add their own words, and that kind of that made it up a notch. From this created on paper and then transferred into the device.
Yeah, so we definitely thought, it's Sherry's term, we're calling it blingity bling. There's no bling there, so we want to see that multimedia bling. And then Tracy also mentioned, I think, the feedback part, and that posting on the blog doesn't guarantee feedback from a wider audience. Yeah. Right. Both.
Oh yeah, we've had very similar sentiments or opinions as Lake County, and one phrase that really sort of struck a chord and was sort of talked about here, but not put so clearly, was if that, we felt very much like there's a lot of substitution, augmentation, yes, but that if that blog was purposeful, so actually had a destination other than, there was a lot of talk about here about if a teacher's just holding that blog for the classroom only, well, that's not really necessary, per se. You could just make copies of the physical paper. But if you're reaching out to an expert, if you're reaching out to another school across the country, something to that effect, then that changes everything. So well said, Lake County.
And Carol, you were talking about how, depending on the age level.
Yeah, I teach third grade, and I think that blogging, getting on Google, doing docs, and peer editing is so much easier and actually possible, whereas it wasn't possible before. So I think grade level might make a difference too. We're doing things that I've never done in my class. I think it's awesome.
Back to you.
Hi, this is Teresa in Mendocino. Can you guys hear me?
Hi, Teresa.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to add, kind of dovetail on what you said in Humboldt County about grade level and sort of kind of looking at it through lens of the students. And also, I was first thinking of an accommodation sort of function with the text-to-speech. And so I was thinking, well, it depends on the student. And if they were using text-to-speech as an accommodation means, that you're making something now accessible that may not have been before, then it sort of looks a little different when you're kind of running it through the lens of SAMR. And so also bringing that piece into it as well. So you may be making something possible for a student that might not have been as possible for them to participate in that conversation in the writing and taking it further. So I just wanted to add that.
All right, let's go on to our second example. We'll probably only get through 2 examples here. So our next example, we're going to go just the next slide.
You share your screen. Oh, there it goes.
Colby, this is yours.
Okay, so original assignment, and judging based on the expertise of this group, I think this is going to be a slam dunk. The original assignment was that a teacher had students take a quiz on a paper, and the answers are handwritten. When they made the change to the lesson, they distributed the quiz in a word processor file format and had the students fill in answers on a computer. What level is this?
2 minutes.
Marcia says 2 minutes, or 1 minute. Do we need any minutes for this one?
Everybody on 3. 1, 2. What are we doing?
3.
1, 2, 3.
Stop.
So should we do one more, or do we need to wrap up and talk about other things?
Let's try one more.
One more.
All right, this one, students, these younger students, are going on a shape hunt around the school campus using the camera feature of the iPad. And they are using any app, this one they're using Explain Everything, that allows them to edit the images and to draw on it. So they're tracing the shapes found in their pictures. So they're tracing circles or triangles and any shape they find. They then take those images and put them into some sort of a book creation app where each has different shapes on it. And then they write the attributes that are associated with each shape. And then the final pages of the book, they compose new shapes from the composite shapes. And they put these books, each of the students' books, on a digital bookshelf using iBooks. And they're also sharing out on Twitter. Each kid has a different post or a tweet about their shape and things they learned about the shape.
Okay.
All right, so let's take maybe 3 minutes to discuss.
Okay.
I did.
Let's see, you want to record that? You don't have to.
I don't. Like,
Right now. Anybody else want to record that?
today.
You got it.
Yeah.
Here's the.
Right now.
Lord.
I'm pretty hard.
Anybody want to record that? Okay.
Give me a few minutes.
Okay, you got it.
I'm like,
Almost back.
Mike is back.
Some of the cool things we would still have done with, like, with drawing shapes in the sand, those physical things that we would have done a long time ago are still there. So drawing, there are ways to do it with iPad, right, where you keep picking up your finger and things like that and having shapes. So you're still getting that, like, that tactile knowledge with it a little bit, not leaving out pieces, I think, that are important.
Well, while we're reading John about the football, we like this format. So we use face to face and broadcast. Okay, perfect. What I want to do, if you don't have time today, if you get on your calendar, so you come out and see face to face, and you know about your time, and how you
Do you have more dates than
yeah.
that?
Always going to be the first Tuesday.
I blocked those out.
Now we can do one of two things. Ray and John Moore, they started at 2:30 to do their local meeting, 3:30 to 4. We can, if you like the 4 o'clock start at the regional meeting, you can email them. Okay.
For me, and I know for Dennis, for me too, because I'll get out at 6:30. I really have school at 2:30.
So we'll say 4 o'clock start time for regional meeting, and then we'll spend a few minutes after. So we'll probably end at 5:30.
We don't have to worry about
All right. Who'd like to go first? Which county?
Sure. Okay, Humboldt will go.
Didn't Humboldt go first last time?
No.
Oh, okay.
You're keeping track though.
Who's counting?
Okay, are we going?
Yes, go Humboldt.
Okay, we felt this was complete redefinition. Starting out with the fact that the students are really leading the project, finding the shapes with the iPad. The teacher is not taking the pictures and doing all the legwork. Using Explain Everything to trace the shapes is done on the iPads and not just pen and paper. The images being placed in book creation, pick it up another notch there. And the fact that the final pages can be composed in the new shape really helps add it to taking it and extending it beyond. And then storing it digitally and tweeting it out and sharing it kept the elevated redefinition there.
Hey, Jason, you're up.
Right, so we came up with, it was augmentation. It was augmentation because basically it's a task that that teacher would have done anyways, that you modified something that they've done and like take it to another level, like comparing it with a bigger audience, but just modification of an existing task.
You're saying augmentation is the level?
Yes, augmentation.
All right. Speak nice and loud.
Because all of the levels are there.
utilizing the overall product, and the end product is something that shared with others, as well as it's kept, in the library or whatever for other people to read. And so we think that it is a great example of redefinition.
So Lake County, we're curious, what could be changed to get it up to a maybe modification level, if not redefinition? What would you add or change?
You would have to do something that you wouldn't have done before without that.
Okay. No, we're not. Okay. As an example, it would be students finding multiple shapes and talking about their similarities, or maybe inserting video clips, something different than what could be done statically.
Okay, that's a good point, because we didn't really add in the multimedia, but we were thinking that the big difference was kids have never been able to go out and on pictures of things just naturally occurring, identify and trace shapes. You know, I guess I could have printed pictures and maybe wrote on the pictures, but to be able to identify them, I think, in real world situations. Sorry, there's so much other. We thought took it to another level, because you couldn't really do that. When we think about how kids were taught shapes before, they didn't have the ability to identify and spot those shapes without the technology. But I definitely see adding maybe some video that the kids maybe create. That would also be good. Anybody else have comments?
I think it's the way you use explain everything and the grade level you're talking about, because we were talking about primary grades, and this would definitely be a lot different for a primary grade or third, fourth, fifth versus older students.
One thing we talked about was the second to last sentence, or the third to last sentence. The final pages of the book can be used to compose new shapes from a composite shape. And that's something that really can't be done, at least easily, within the context of a fixed time period without this app and that technology. And Alyssa mentioned that it could lead to a deeper understanding sooner for students.
And if I could speak to that also, that one thing that we sort of discussed was making sure that the technology being used is not for the sake of the technology being used, as we discussed earlier, but that it actually heightens the learning experience of a standard being applied. So whatever it is that they're learning, the example was given, I can tell a kid to draw a rectangle, but they're not necessarily going to make that connection of seeing a bench, tracing the bench on their iPad, and then, I mean, I guess you could print that out, but ultimately, I guess the fear is, and I think I'm hearing that, is this, who is this? Lake County?
That's Lake County.
I'm hearing that from Lake County, where it's sort of like a substitution, really, something that you can definitely do. Yes, it's new technology, but you can definitely do. So that's sort of where I sort of turn on a slippery slope of using technology for the sake of using technology versus heightening a student's ability to be part of a digital world, I suppose, but also heightening their understanding of that standard.
Yeah. Right.
We had different about how we implement the information for. Sorry, it's very echoey.
Yeah, the sound is really bad.
To be able to be more than the augmentation. However, as it was static presented in the conversations that we had, we were just leaning more towards caution on the replacement of, here's a triangle, go out and find this shape in your environment, which is a typical primary activity, to the opportunities that are available integrated in the technology. So it's much like it depends on what you do with information.
All right. I think those are great comments. And I think what new learning for me today is really thinking about grade level and how that applies to the level of integration and really thinking about that differently. So just wrapping up, I did make a couple of Padlets. What I'm really interested in is possibly having people add to this last one. So if you have this slideshow already, I'd love to have you add to this last Padlet what types of things you would see in a transformed lesson. What types of skills and activities would kids be doing in a transformed lesson? We talked about, recording video, sharing globally, feedback loops, things like this today. And what type of things kind of help you, guide you in thinking about what redefinition is or modification, either of those in the transformation level. If you don't have the slideshow, your leads do, and they can certainly send it to you. But I'd love to have kind of a resource bank of what those things are. And then the last thing here we have for you is the SAMR wheel, which is the answers to that Padlet, basically. But you can look in here, and you've got activities and action verbs for, they blend. I mean, there's not a cut and dry place where you cut off. But this is a nice graphic to talk about the different levels of SAMR, where they meet with the level of blooms, which is in the middle circle, and then what activities and actions that the kids would be doing in those levels. And a lot of this, as you say, depends on grade level and depends on what they're specifically doing with these things. There's a link here to an interactive PDF, so all those little apps and things are clickable. And I printed out color copies for all my people, but I left them at the district office, so I don't have them. Definitely check this out, and just remember that if you're clicking on, say, explain everything, which is in the red quadrant under apply, you can also use that app for other levels of redefinition or of SAMR just by doing different things with it. So these aren't cut and dry. Just because you're using the VoiceThread app over there in redefinition and create doesn't mean you're hitting redefinition. It's really how you use it and integrate it. But this is a great resource with lots of ideas, and I encourage you to take a look at it. Colby, do you have anything else you wanted to add?
Only, I really reading the book. Let's see what app is chosen your experience on the SAMR ladder, and I would be very curious if you have time, in particular, teaching students at the level, sharing this ideas with getting their SAMR.
Well, you're cutting in and out, Colby. We're only catching every other word.
Oh. Is it better now?
Yeah, maybe. We'll just go with it.
I'd be curious how your students, what their reactions to the SAMR model would be for their secondary. Okay, I'm done.
All right, any closing comments or questions before we stop the broadcast?
Just thank you guys for taking the 5 months and putting this all together, and remind you to update it monthly with all of the dates for all of our meetings together. So we look forward to seeing one.
I think she said that in your participant documents folder, there's all the dates listed there too. Yeah, that we're meeting. All right, thank you guys. We'll see you next month.